His Power Ranger show came into the American market. Wow, I have to go have an interview. I want to work over there. But at that time, I didn't have the green card.
Oh.
Michi Yamato チャンネル。7月26日、城谷光俊とガチトーク。村枝賢一先生も登場。阿佐ヶ谷ロフトに来てね。Thanks for watching us, Michi Yamato channel. Today, we are inviting a great producer and also director, Robert Hughes, over here. Nice to meet you again.
Nice to see you.
ロバート・ヒューズ、エミー賞も受賞したハリウッドの映像制作者。東映がハリウッドに出したパワーレンジャー、マスクドライダーなど全作品を監督、プロデュース。
It has a very strange origin story because Haim Saban, who was the man behind these shows, he had been in Japan and had seen this type of genre, and he liked it and thought, hey, maybe we could, make a show like that for America. And then he said, wait a minute, maybe we could just use their footage when they are in costume and shoot an American side of it. So half American, half Japanese, and save a lot of money and time and get all the great effects that were in the original shows. So that was how it began. And by the time I came on, Haim had been trying to sell the show for 8 years, unsuccessfully. He had a pilot that was called Bioman.
Bioman, yes.
Yeah. It was, there was another show that they had based it on earlier. And he showed this to everyone. Everybody thought he was crazy.
How come? It's too violent or?
No, they didn't understand it. They didn't understand the costumes. They didn't understand the colorful nature of it. And they didn't think that American children would like it. So he had no luck with this until he had started making cartoons for Fox Kids. And he made a show that was a hit for them, an animated series. And because of that, they asked him what else he had. And he showed them this pilot that he had, and they said, I don't know, but maybe if you could do a new pilot.
Oh, that
show us how it actually
him.
Worked. Yes. And so he did it, they liked it, and they ordered 40 episodes for the first season.
That's the Power Rangers.
That was Power Rangers. Power Rangers was very successful.
But when you joined the Power Rangers team?
At the very beginning, I was one of the first directors. They had this footage from Ranger, and they decided that they were going to use that to make the American show.
Right.
They hired 3 directors. The first director was to come in and do his. We would shoot 3 episodes at the same time.
Oh, okay.
If you're in the juice bar, everything from the juice bar from those 3 episodes. You're on the playground, same thing. So the first director came in. They fired him.
Why?
He couldn't keep up. Basically, he couldn't. What we say, he could not make the day. Everything got backed up. Too much stuff. The days were going long. Crew was unhappy. Producers weren't happy. So they brought in the second director. Same thing.
It's like amateur, the new guy, green guy.
This was before Green. Long before Green. But so 3 episodes, fire him. Next 3 episodes, fire him. Then it was my turn.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, okay, and
tough joke.
The DP, Ilan, he was a very wise man, and he said to me, Bob, you're going to benefit from this because you'll see the mistakes that they made, and you won't make the same mistakes. I had been making low-budget films. I had been making a comedy series for Nickelodeon, children's shows. I'd been doing all kinds of crazy stuff, but it sort of worked because I had done action-adventure, and I had also done children's programming.
Oh, okay.
So it was much a more natural fit for me. I came in, I made my days, the stuff looked good, I worked well with the actors, they liked me, the crew liked me. I became the director for Power Rangers. They had to bring in another director because it always worked that while one director was prepping, the other one was shooting, and then you'd switch.
Switch, yes.
So when they were going to bring in the next guy, he was like me. He had been to USC Film School like me. He was from the Midwest of America like me. We had both worked in low-budget feature films and done a lot of writing ourselves.
Okay.
And so one of the producers, Ronnie Hadar, asked me to take this guy out to breakfast and tell him what I was doing.
Okay.
Why I was successful.
Oh yeah, right.
So we had breakfast, and he said, "So what's going on? How can I be successful?" And I said, "I rewrite the scripts.
Okay.
I try and make them make sense and find transitions between the Japanese
footage, American footage,
and the American footage. Because if you just think you're going to cut from Japanese footage to American footage, you're going to get whiplash. You've got to have some graceful way of transitioning into that. Let's say, for example, there was a scene in the Japanese footage where they had just transitioned into the costume characters. And they were in a mall, and it was striped walls behind them. I would ask the art department, paint me a flat with striped walls that matches that. So our characters, when they would say, time to transform, it would be morphin time correctly done because it would match exactly what was going on in the other scene.
To the from American footage to Japanese footage.
So I would always try and do this as much as I could. And it was funny because we were shooting on film, not video. We were as the Japanese had shot on film, 16 millimeter.
Right.
But we were transferring our original material from color negative to, it looked pristine. It looked perfect. We were working with positive prints that had been transferred from Japan that had dirt on them, that sometimes had scratches on them. It was distressed compared to what the American footage looked like. And it was hard
to adjust it,
to make it look the same. And usually it didn't, because we couldn't distress our film. It was better for it to look good than to try and make it look bad.
So it sounds like I didn't know that, because when I work with you, Bob, from the Masked Rider, so looks like, so Michi, look at the Japanese footage, the American editor picked up.
Yes.
So and then you have to shoot a transaction and also original action, matching the American story.
Yes.
So when I had that idea, wow, American guy is so smart, because it's like first time to create such a style.
Yes.
So and then totally matching for American kids program.
Yes.
It was great.
It was a challenge though, because it was hard to make the stories match. Some of the Japanese shows were very Japanese. The culture was different.
Right.
The everything was different in so many ways. The landscapes were different. So it became a real challenge to try and find stories that could grow out of the same footage. The character of Trini, she collected dolls. So we said, okay, she has a doll that's a troll.
A Yellow Ranger, right?
Yeah. And so they would make a doll that for Trini to hold and say this, and then Rita Repulsa would say, turn that troll doll into the giant troll, and now you had a connection to the Japanese story.
Oh, you're smart.
Not me. Hayam. It was Hayam who made the decision to meld the two shows.
I see.
No one had any faith that Power Rangers was going to be successful until it hit the air, and it was immediately a success.
It's huge mega hit, right?
It was not just the show itself, but the toys. They couldn't make enough toys. They were flying off the shelves, and working on the show, you're like in a factory. And I wasn't reading the trade papers and seeing ratings or anything like that. I was just turning the crank and making more shows. And I heard that the show was doing pretty well, and then I was watching the news one night, and here's Tom Brokaw on NBC News says, "What's the toy you can't get for your kid this Christmas? Power Rangers." And they did a whole story about Power Rangers on network news.
That's right.
And then I started having movie stars, bring their children to the set to visit. Ted Danson's there with his kids.
That's right.
Lakers are coming down, bring their children to meet the Power Rangers. It was so popular that immediately other people started to make copies of what Power Rangers. There were 2 other series that were not successful at all that were on other channels, and they failed. But Power Rangers continued to deliver and be successful. So based on the success of Power Rangers, then came VR Troopers. Based on the success of VR Troopers, then came Masked Rider.
Right.
And then Beetleborgs.
Right. Because before the Power Rangers, such the big action, it's kind of violent. I don't say violent, so it's like a fighting kids show. No show like that before the Power Rangers in the American TV kids show. But after that, the Power Ranger comes on to the American market. I think the American kids program and also Hollywood movie style is kind of changing, I feel like. Do you think?
Absolutely. It's very true that we never, on Power Rangers, we never used the V word, violence. It was always action. It was action.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So we had to be careful about it. No head blows. If there was head blows in the Japanese footage, we cut it out. And on these shows, it wasn't like anybody died. Rita Repulsa would send her putties. They were made out of clay. You know,
right.
They weren't killing people.
Right.
On VR Troopers, there were robots. We were killing robots. They're not people. So there was always standards and practices. That's a part of the network that approves if you were violating a copyright, showing someone drinking Coca-Cola. You couldn't do that, obviously. So they would flag these things and tell you don't do that. But they would also flag things if they thought it was too violent. But the rule about using characters that were not human as opponents, that's how they got around a lot of this issue. But you remember there was a big backlash against Power Rangers when it first appeared. Al Gore's wife came out and had a campaign against Power Rangers, and they would not allow it to air in Canada.
Oh, really?
They would not allow it to air in New Zealand, which was ironic because ultimately Power Rangers moved to New Zealand and they shot the show there. But
that's right. You're right.
So the violence was a problem.